Hey, welcome back to the BGX podcast. My name is Phil, as always, and my guest today has self-published their own game. So thank you so much, Eric and Sammy from Soul Tokens, for joining. It is great to have you on the show today.
Phil.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure, of course. So, first and foremost, Soul Tokens, great game, lots of fun to play. Tell us about how'd you come up with the idea in the first place? I mean, tell us the origin stories.
There's so much to say there. A big part of it is every time I go back and I'm visiting with my friends, they've got a new board game, which looks beautiful. I want to play at the outset, but then when it comes actually time to play, it's like I'm doing statistics homework with my buddies. Now I just want to be having a good time and, catching up with my friends. So the need was there. But then also, for the game specifically, we just have this like kind of freak life out here on Maui that puts us in contact with all kinds of huge diversity of people. So like I work at a community for special needs adults, but then also at a high-end resort with million and billionaires that I'm brushing elbows with.
Yeah, I was a yoga teacher at a country club out here that celebrities attended and things like that. But then like right on the other side of there's not even a fence, but like right on the other side of the property line, there's just all these hippies out on the beach, like fire dancing and,
people living in the woods.
Weed. Yeah.
We mentioned Amazon earlier, right? So Jeff Bezos got a place out here, right? Not even a mile from where he lives, there's like a literal hippie encampment with like people just living on the beach.
So we have a funny perspective on life, and we always like to joke around. And there happened to be a hurricane, and Eric brought over the game of life, and we were like, "This is preposterous. It makes no sense. This is nothing like life at all." And we thought we'd set out to make a game of life where, instead of it's about money, because I think we all know that's not really what life is about, right? It's about your soul, right? And it became a joke between us, kind of like we'd see each other, and I'd say, "Wow, did you have a rough night? You look like you lost a soul token," right? And it kind of became a short 2.5-year process or something like that of writing and designing,
making and remaking the game, until we came up with the finished product.
Well, I mean, it turned out incredible. It's funny. That was my wife's exact words as we were playing. We were probably 4 rounds in, and she's like, "Oh, so this is sort of like Game of Life, but better." Congrats, because the story definitely rings true when you play the game. It's funny you mentioned hippies too. That was actually one of the cards that I drew. I was a female ginger hippie, so I got to go through a fun version of life
out there.
And she met her maker early, I heard.
Yes, she did. Yep. Trampled by Black Friday shoppers. So there you go.
Done in by materialism.
I had a great eulogy, so it was fine towards the end of the game. So it was good. What did you guys do before Soul Tokens? I know you mentioned a couple of your jobs, but do you have a background? Are you board gamers, part of the hobby, or is this your first foray?
So I grew up playing board games, all kinds of board games. But what I played most of is like pen and paper, RPG, those kind of games. And Sammy, nothing at all.
I've never played a game other than Soul Tokens, the one that I wrote. And that time we played Life.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an interesting dynamic because I see Life by the rules of a board game or an RPG. Like I'm got like a stat sheet in my mind of the different friends and family, people I know. So obviously I kind of have a mind for that. And Sammy, the total opposite. So I would come to her with different ideas, concepts, and just totally get blown.
I'd be like, that's too hard. No, like my friends wouldn't understand that. And I was like, we want to laugh, right? That was like kind of my main thing. Like I was like in it to write the jokes with him, you know? And so I think that what we came up with is a game that a girl would play too.
Yeah.
Like a woman, a girl would happily play this game, buy this game, you know, and play with her friends and stuff like that. Like I played with all my girlfriends and we laugh and we have like such a good time. So I'm not all the games are like that.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a lightweight play. I mean, you know, the instructions are very brief, and which I was thrilled to see when I opened it up. I'm like, okay, how much am I going to have to study to get this game on the table? And it's, I mean, you know, less than 5 minutes and you're set and ready to go, and then just obey the cards. I mean, you know, not to steal from Quelf, but you know, you just kind of go and do what it tells you to do. So really appreciate that. But I also see, you know, kind of the RPG influence. It does play a little bit like an RPG, and you can sort of get into your character as much as you choose to, or just sit back and read the cards. You know, I was very into my character. I'm, you know, doing a female ginger hippie impression the whole time, and my wife was a Mexican male and a devout Christian, and was not interested in role playing that one at all. So we had an interesting dynamic going on for sure.
It's funny, you know, what character is accessible to you and what is not. I don't know. There's always like a game that happens outside the game. You know, obviously me as a nerd, I love to see that. So
I just found out what an RPG game is like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. And I was like, Eric, it's an RPG. We made an RPG. And I was like, but it's just not like magical. But I mean, it's kind of magical. But yeah. It definitely felt to me like I was like, this is a real role-playing game, because you got to step into the land of imagination to play Soul Tokens and have a really good time, I think, and write the side story of it, you know?
Right. Yeah, as much as you want to, as much as that's available to you, and that's it's one of the things that we love about the game is it is very lightweight, easy to play, and like fun, funny, but then you can get into it as much as you want.
Right.
Bring it to the drama kids too. I promise you'll have a.
That's right. We're definitely going to use it as an acting exercise before next year's musical, I think. So yeah, for sure. So talk me through the process of developing a game. I mean, I've talked to a couple of designers who really focus on the front side. I've talked to one who's self-publishing. You guys have made it all the way, including the Kickstarter. I mean, you know, you had this idea for Soul Tokens. What did you do next? What was that sort of next step in the process?
I think the first thing that came up is we started to write the cards, literally the cards. And we went through a lot of iterations. So
basically it was like this: anything that would happen in life that was like funny, fun, interesting, we would just try to make it into a punchline and see if it landed with the other person.
Yeah, we were just trying to make each other laugh. Like, so we'd have like a list, and like we'd like wait and read it off to each other and wait to see like who cracked up.
Mm-hmm. So that basically like left us with our first version of the game, which to this day we have friends that won't play with us anymore. Like, won't even look at us in the eyes because the game was just so brutal.
Right.
Traumatic, like traumatized.
Yeah. So it's like we kind of took that process of trial and error, and we just made version after version after version of the game. You know, we made a version that was kid friendly and all that, played it with all my family at Thanksgiving, and
that was fun, and that was fine. But then we kind of like landed on just whatever was like kept continually making us laugh, like literally had the best jokes that we like couldn't pull the card without laughing at it. And there's still ones that I see that like I've seen them 100 times and I'm still like you know. And then we got to work, I should say Eric got to work on the design. He did all the design.
Yeah, Photoshop elements, baby.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's incredible. So no artist, you didn't hire an artist or a graphic designer or anything?
Yeah, we tried to get various graphic designers and all this stuff, but ultimately what it took is a pandemic and just months of me on the computer tweaking every little thing until it was exactly perfect.
Wow. Yeah. And the inspiration for the board is actually the ceiling of a chapel in Texas that was all stained glass in this huge spiral. So Eric kind of took that inspiration and moved it into that. And then I got to work on sourcing our manufacturer. And I spent like 3 months just writing emails and talking to the wonderful people at these different factories that make the board games. And we settled on one that makes really popular board games, right? They make Settlers of Catan. So we knew they weren't going out of business, you know? And so we got all of the kind of information from them. And then we went to Kickstarter.
So tell me about the Kickstarter launch. I mean, you know, like I told you before, there's tons of creators that are terrified of Kickstarter, or, you know, they're like, I don't even want to go there. It's too much work and it's too much pressure. And so tell me your experience. I mean, maybe you have a different take on it.
Well, we made a hilarious video. That was like the first thing that came out was we made this hilarious video. We thought it was hilarious.
Basically, I don't know, maybe it's a idea, but like we're just out there on surfboards and the game comes like shredding in all 80s style. We just play right there on surfboards. We kind of get a sense for who we are as creators and in our type of humor through that.
I played 2 characters in this.
One of the cool things I will say about Kickstarter is it put us in touch with a fan base who is really passionate about supporting us in this kind of project. And through that fan base, we got so much feedback. And so it's, I would say, been best for that reason.
For sure. Like before the game went to production, the people on Kickstarter actually they made a change to the game, right? They made a change to the game because we had a little cute, like a little advertisement that had a ginger meeple. And, you know, Ginger got 1 soul token, and like they unanimously agreed on Kickstarter. They wrote us that.
So gingers don't have souls.
Gingers don't have souls. You can't give them a soul token.
It's like
we were like, all right, you're supporting us.
That's fair.
We came up with other things too, and also we want to give our Kickstarter backers a big shout out because we reached our goal and we were able to bring in the first big shipment of games, and we were able to fulfill to them as well as to start selling on Amazon. So we just kind of had a good snowball effect from Kickstarter in general. But the process of Kickstarter was really hard and it was really stressful. And like I think every day we were like and for the whole time. And also we're in Hawaii, so I remember like vividly having to wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to like launch our Kickstarter. You know, exactly. So yeah, it added that extra layer of like no sleep to it.
Yeah. So how long did your Kickstarter run? How much did you end up raising? How many backers did you end up having, if you know?
We ran it for a month, right?
Yeah.
And then we were able to meet our goal in 4 days. Wow. And our goal was like $5,000 or something like that. And then after that, we were able to, you know, accrue a little bit more, but I don't think it was like a lot more. I think in the end we had we didn't double it. Let's say we under doubled it. It was like something like 8,500, and we had 250 different people that got Kickstarters from us, and they were able to get like some add-ons, some really special add-ons, like the ghost deck, where you can live your afterlife, you know, everybody's dying to know what's happening in the afterlife. So we answered that question.
Just advice, if anybody's launching or going to start a Kickstarter, don't do it during an election cycle. We thought that we would do ours right before, you know, as everyone was doing their holiday shopping.
Yeah.
That put us right at the time of the elections where everything was just blown up on social media.
Totally. So it was really hard to get like viewership or a voice, and no ads were really expensive, and it was just a bad time.
Yeah. I'm sure cutting through that noise, especially on this election, was not easy. So, but you made it. So you got funded, and so take us forward from there. I mean, I think a lot of people have misconceptions about the aftermath of running a successful Kickstarter. What is that like once you're done with the Kickstarter and you got your money in hand, and now it's time to actually go and deliver a game, right?
So we ordered the games, and they took they were supposed to take 2 months, and they took 4, right? So that was the first mishap, and we were just writing these "I'm sorry" updates, we're sorry, and we were trying to make it funny, and then when we did get them, I think I got tape poisoning because we.
So we got them all in, and then we pulled them. The Soul Fulfillment Center is what we call the shed that we keep our Soul Tokens games in.
I love
it. So we got to pull in this copy of 1,000 games, and we just jammed them all out in one night. We sent out around 250 copies of the game, which is how many backers we had all over the world. And so that was epic and awesome to be able to do. We
had a big hit in England. Our friends Ben and Anna games.
Since then it's just been a lot of social media kind of guerrilla advertising, and going through influencers, that kind of thing, different reviewers, and trying to get the word out there.
Tell them about Amazon, though. Can I tell them?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so you're on Amazon, which is a huge step forward in selling a product online. So congratulations on that, first of all. But go ahead.
Thank you. We're really happy to be on Amazon because it was struggles. The first thing is that we had to prove our trademark, prove that we're a real deal. So our lawyer got us our trademark, and we did it, and we put our game on Amazon, and we were somehow suppressed, or our whole listing was suppressed for a really long time, for 6 months.
You would type in soul tokens, you couldn't find us, and we're all the time on the phone with Amazon, what's going on?
What's happening?
No one can figure it out, right? Until
we found out that we had been listed as an adult toy, a naughty one.
Our board game is in there with all these sex toys. And it's no wonder you can't find it.
Right.
So
vibrating soul tokens, and that would get you there.
Look for that in the expansion.
But and so then I pleaded, and then they took us off, and so now we're on there, and we're selling copies, and it's lovely that we got on 6 months or so later, so 6 to 8 months later. So we've been on Amazon for almost about 6 months now, and we're excited because we're gonna start having Prime, so we're gonna offer free shipping.
Oh wow, that's awesome. All right. Well, so talk me through. I know Overhead Games, right, is the parent publishing company, I guess you could call it. So tell me a lot about that. What's next for Overhead Games or for Soul Tokens in the future?
Well, first of all, for Soul Tokens has some expansions that we've been kind of mulling over that probably will probably not only be sold separately from the game, but some things will be published with the game, hopefully on the next round. So we're going to expand the game within itself.
So one of those things that we didn't expect from our Kickstarter was going to be such a hit, but was the ghost deck. So it's you live your life birth to death, but then after you die, you can keep on drawing up and doing ghost stuff and screwing with your friends as a ghost.
Yeah,
which
living
is
people.
Hilarious and totally necessary. After we put it in the game, it's my God, this belongs in the actual game. So we're going to find a way to get that to the people who bought this version of the game.
We got that extra space.
And then that will, exactly. And then that will certainly be going into future versions of the game.
And then people really loved our cabochons. So right now our soul tokens are just kind of clear and iridescent, you know? And we have these really cool cabochons that are multicolored, and they're just kind of anything in the universe could be in them. And we're going to hopefully put those in the next iteration of Soul Tokens. I think definitely.
The beauty of the cabochons is this: you get them and you see it's oh, this is a special, unique thing. And then you lose that part of your soul. It really makes
sad.
the game sting in a way that's necessary and good.
Yeah.
And then I think that we have some other games that we've kind of come up with. And one project that we've been working on hugely is a tarot card deck, which is going to be not really a game that you can play.
It's going to be hilarious
But
though, and it's not something, like we're kind of looking at this from from two perspectives. From the marketing perspective, like who's going to buy this, who's going to be interested? Zero. Nobody. But it's hilarious.
So funny.
To come up with your own tarot deck. And at any rate, I don't. Well, when it comes out, it'll definitely be on our Instagram and on our TikTok and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to follow along and watch for those new announcements of upcoming games or exclusives or DLCs, expansion packs for the game, where can they find you guys? Where can they follow along your journey?
We're on Instagram at Soul Tokens. We're on TikTok, also at Soul Tokens, and Facebook, also at Soul Tokens. All of the social medias and Twitter, and then we've got a YouTube where you can see our funny videos if you ever want to see our funny videos and how to play Soul Tokens as well. And then you can buy Soul Tokens at our website, soultokensthegame.com, as well as on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, make sure you check it out. The game is a lot of fun to play, super lightweight, so make sure to pick up a copy for your next party. Eric and Sammy, I really appreciate you being on the show today. It was great to have you all the way from Hawaii. So thank you so much for joining me, and wish you all the best. Look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thanks, Phil.
Sounds good.
Aloha.
Yeah. Hey, next time we're in Coco.
There you go. Yep. Come surfing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Game night, baby.
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right. Bye.